I need to tell you something that took me years of clinical practice to say out loud to my patients. The ice cream you gave up the day you were diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, the one you haven't touched in years out of pure guilt and fear, has a glycemic index of 37. The toast you had for breakfast this morning? 74. Your bowl of white rice at dinner? 72. The dessert you sacrificed raises your blood sugar more slowly than half the foods you consider safe. But here is the part that matters even more. The products you switched to, the ones labeled sugar-free, diabetic-friendly, and guilt-free, some of those are hitting your blood sugar harder than the real thing ever did. Today I am giving you back 5. And warning you away from 3. My name is Dr. Emily Carter. I am a surgeon with over 20 years of clinical experience. And I want to spend 60 seconds explaining why real ice cream behaves differently in your body than you were ever told. When you eat full-fat ice cream, 3 things happen simultaneously that work in your favor. The cream fat physically slows how fast your stomach empties. That is the first brake on blood sugar. The dairy protein triggers a hormone called GLP-1, the very same hormone that Ozempic is designed to imitate. And that is your second brake. And the cold temperature forces your stomach to warm the food before digestion can even begin. That is your third. 3 natural brakes. Working together. On every single spoonful. The problem was never ice cream. The problem is which ice cream. Let me show you exactly which ones belong back in your freezer, and which ones need to leave it tonight. Before we get into the list, stay with me through all 5 of the good ones. Because number 5 costs less than $2 a serving, requires ingredients you almost certainly already own, and outperforms every commercial product I am about to recommend. Do not skip ahead. The order matters. Number 1. And yes, I know exactly how this sounds. Cottage cheese ice cream. Stay with me for 30 seconds before you scroll past. When you blend full-fat cottage cheese completely smooth and freeze it, the texture comes out remarkably close to soft serve. But what happens nutritionally is where this gets genuinely exciting. A half-cup serving delivers approximately 14 grams of protein. That is 3 times the protein in a standard scoop of regular ice cream. And that protein hits your GLP-1 response powerfully, nearly doubling the time food spends in your stomach, which means glucose enters your bloodstream slowly, gently, without a spike. Here is the recipe. 1 cup full-fat cottage cheese, and I mean full-fat because the fat is doing critical work here. 1 tablespoon of allulose or erythritol. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. A handful of frozen berries if you want them. Blend until completely smooth. Freeze 2 to 3 hours. Stir once. Eat. Approximately 120 calories per half cup. 5 to 7 grams of carbohydrates. That is your safest, most blood sugar-friendly frozen dessert. And it costs almost nothing. Number 2. And I need to stress one word before anything else. Homemade. Because what you make in your own kitchen, and what sits in your supermarket freezer under the same name are 2 completely different foods. I will come back to that distinction in the warning list. When you freeze full-fat plain Greek yogurt at home, you get 8 to 10 grams of protein per serving, the natural fat that acts as one of those 3 brakes, and something that matters deeply after 60 live probiotic cultures that research shows gradually improve insulin sensitivity over weeks of consistent use. You are not just managing one glucose spike. You are slowly retraining how your body handles sugar altogether. The recipe is simple. 2 cups full-fat plain Greek yogurt. 2 tablespoons of erythritol or allulose. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. A handful of berries. Freeze in a container, stirring every 30 minutes until firm. Full fat only. The moment you use fat-free, you remove the brake. The entire protective effect collapses. Number 3. For the evenings when you have no energy to blend or freeze anything. When you need something you can pull straight from a carton. That option exists, but only when the sweetener is right. Erythritol has a glycemic index of 0. It passes through your body almost completely unchanged, never converted into glucose. Stevia comes from a plant leaf and provokes no meaningful insulin response. 2 brands I am comfortable recommending by name. Halo Top, particularly the vanilla bean and golden blondie flavors. Approximately 21 grams of carbohydrates per 2/3 cup. Available at Walmart, Target, and Costco. Enlightened Keto line, 1 gram of net carbs per serving. The strictest option if you want tight control. When you read any label, look for erythritol and stevia leaf extract near the top of the ingredient list. That combination is your green light. One honest caution: after 60, the gut can become more sensitive to sugar alcohols in large amounts. Start with a quarter cup. See how your body responds before increasing. Quick pause before we continue. Have you tried any of these first 3 options? Did you check your glucose meter afterward? Type what you found in the comments. Your real-world numbers matter far more to the people watching this than anything printed on any carton. And if this is already changing how you think about your freezer aisle, hit the like button right now. It takes 1 second and it helps YouTube put this in front of the people who need it most. 2 more good ones coming, including the one I promised at the beginning. Number 4. And this sweetener deserves your full attention because the science behind it was published just recently, and what it shows stopped me in my tracks. A 2024 meta-analysis in the journal Metabolism examined 6 clinical trials covering over 120 patients with type 2 diabetes. The conclusion was remarkable. Allulose did not simply stay neutral on blood sugar the way erythritol does. Allulose actively lowered post-meal glucose levels. It reduced the time patients spent above the safe blood sugar threshold. Think of erythritol as a passenger. It rides along harmlessly. Allulose is more like a fourth brake. It actually helps pull glucose down. 2 brands worth finding by name. Rebel Ice Cream Full-Fat Heavy Cream Base, 0 added sugar, with real-world continuous glucose monitor data showing rises of only about 15 milligrams per deciliter per serving. And Nick's Swedish Style. A blend of allulose, erythritol, and stevia that tastes remarkably close to traditional ice cream. Available at Whole Foods, Sprouts, and Kroger. They run $6 to $7 a pint more expensive, but the blood sugar outcome justifies it. Number 5. The one I promised at the very beginning. Under $2 a serving. No sugar alcohols. No commercial product required. And you almost certainly have everything you need in your kitchen right now. A frozen banana blended into ice cream. Here is the science that makes this more than just a health food trick. A fresh banana has a glycemic index of around 51. Not ideal on its own. But when you freeze a banana and allow it to thaw, a process called retrogradation occurs inside the starch. A significant portion converts into resistant starch, which resists digestion entirely, passes through your body largely unchanged, and according to research from Johns Hopkins, measurably improves insulin sensitivity and blunts post-meal blood sugar response. Here is the 4-ingredient recipe I want you to write down. 1 ripe banana, sliced and frozen for at least 4 hours. That freezing triggers the resistant starch conversion. 2 tablespoons of natural peanut butter with no added sugar. This powerfully activates GLP-1 and contributes healthy fat. Half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon, shown to improve how your cells absorb glucose from the bloodstream. And 1 tablespoon of unsweetened cocoa powder. The epicatechin compound in cocoa supports the pancreatic beta cells that produce your insulin. Blend everything until smooth. The texture is indistinguishable from soft serve. The sweetness comes entirely from the banana itself. No added sugar of any kind. First time you try it, check your glucose meter 1 to 2 hours afterward, especially if your HbA1c is above 8.0. Now the 3 to avoid. And the first one is going to feel deeply unfair because you reached for it in good faith. Low-fat, fat-free, and light ice cream. When manufacturers strip the fat out of ice cream, they remove the brake that slows glucose absorption. And to keep the product tasting like something you would actually want to eat, they compensate by adding more sugar. More sugar going in. Brake completely removed. The spike is faster and higher than full-fat ice cream would have caused. Research tracking over 600 people using continuous glucose monitors found that reduced fat ice cream raised blood sugar by an average of 43.9 milligrams per deciliter. Regular full-fat ice cream 35.4. Brands to leave on the shelf. Breyer's Fat-Free, Eddie's Slow-Churned Light, Skinny Cow, Standard Sherbet, and Sorbet, which is essentially pure sugar with no protective mechanism working at all. The shortcut rule. If the label says light, fat-free, low-fat, or skinny, put it back. Warning number 2. The product an entire generation was told was the responsible alternative to ice cream. Commercial frozen yogurt. Look at these numbers side by side. Dannon Light and Fit frozen yogurt, marketed as the healthy choice, contains 21 grams of sugar per half cup. Häagen-Dazs Vanilla, the premium full-fat ice cream you have been avoiding, 20 grams per half cup. The frozen yogurt has more sugar than the ice cream it replaced. And because it is also low in fat, that sugar hits your bloodstream with no break slowing it down at all. Commercial chains are worse. A medium self-serve cup with toppings can carry 60 to 80 grams of sugar in a single sitting. The homemade frozen Greek yogurt I described earlier is a completely different food. I am not contradicting myself. What comes out of a commercial machine and what you make at home with full-fat Greek yogurt share nothing but a name. Warning number 1. The most dangerous trap on this entire list. Sugar-free ice cream sweetened with maltitol. It looks like a gift designed specifically for your diagnosis. The words sugar-free, printed prominently across the front. Marketing aimed directly at people with diabetes. But inside the ingredient list is a sweetener with a glycemic index between 35 and 52, and an insulin index of 27. That is dramatically higher than every other sugar alcohol available. Peer-reviewed nutrition research states it plainly. Maltitol has a significant impact on blood glucose, unlike erythritol, which has almost none. And because the carton says sugar-free, people eat double the serving they normally would. The total glucose impact in real life sometimes ends up worse than regular ice cream. After 60, there is one more danger. Maltitol acts as a laxative. It causes diarrhea, bloating, and dehydration. And dehydration concentrates the glucose already circulating in your blood, making the spike sharper still. Brands to leave on the shelf permanently. Breyer's no sugar added, Turkey Hill no sugar added, Eddie's no sugar added, and virtually every store brand sugar-free version at major chains. The 5-second label rule. Scan the first 3 ingredients. If you see maltitol, maltitol syrup, or sorbitol, put it down immediately. Let me give you 4 actions you can take starting tonight. 1. Open your freezer right now. Pick up every sugar-free product on the shelf and read the first 3 ingredients. If you see maltitol, it leaves tonight. 2. Only eat ice cream after a meal containing at least 20 grams of protein and real fat. Never on an empty stomach. Never between meals. 3. Portion discipline always. Scoop half a cup into a small bowl. Put the carton back in the freezer immediately. Never eat directly from the carton. 4. Check your glucose meter 1 to 2 hours after trying anything new. Your meter tells the truth about your body in a way no chart in any book ever can. Ice cream was never your enemy. The kind of ice cream was. And now you know the difference. One question before you go. Of the 8 products we covered today, which one is in your freezer right now? And which one will you try this week? Type it in the comments. I read every single one. And if someone you love gave up ice cream the day they were diagnosed, send them this video. They deserve to know the truth.